So, yeah, that's my life right now. 10 months of marriage and I'm already sleeping on the couch because my husband thinks his flatulence is a personality trait. If anyone else out there has survived living with a human fog machine, I'd love to hear how you did it, because at this rate, I'm one bad fart away from moving into the backyard with the dog. I used to think my life was pretty normal. Boring, even. I was married to the woman I loved, working overtime, so she could finish her degree planning for a baby, doing everything a good husband is supposed to do. And then one night, my entire world collapsed because of a man I never even wanted to call my stepfather. My wife and I have been married for 4 years. We've had our small arguments, sure, but I loved her with everything I had. I supported her through school, paid for everything without hesitation, took her out whenever she wanted, studied with her, talked with her. She always said she was busy with school, full-time classes, long hours at the library, and I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was my wife. My relationship with my mother is complicated. She was a terrible parent, emotionally brutal, and honestly not much better now. But we'd been trying to reconnect. She remarried a guy 2 years ago, Kevin. I never liked his vibe. Something about him felt greasy, like he was always performing for the room instead of being part of it. But whatever. It was my mother's life, not mine. Last year, Kevin asked if I could help remodel their house. My wife suggested that we stay for a week and bond. I figured, sure, maybe this could be a chance to build some kind of family connection. But we didn't bond. Not the way I thought we would. My wife and Kevin teamed up on all the renovation work. They clicked instantly, laughing, joking, talking like they'd known each other for years. Meanwhile, I'm not exactly gifted with tools. So I spent most of that week going out with my mother trying to fix a relationship that probably doesn't want to be fixed. Every time I returned to the house, my wife and Kevin were deep in conversation. She'd be smiling in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. Animated. Glowing. I brushed it off. I wanted to be a trusting husband. I wanted to believe she was just being friendly to the man who married my mother. After that week, she started going over to my mom's house more often, to help finish the renovations, she'd say. Or I'm studying at the library. Don't worry about picking me up, I'll take the train. It became a routine. Once or twice a week, she'd come home later and later, but she always hugged me, always kissed me. We were trying for a baby. Everything felt normal. Until it didn't. A few weeks ago, she came home late again and went straight into the shower. It was almost 1 a.m. Her phone buzzed on the counter. 5 times in less than a minute. She always kept it locked, always close to her, but this time, it lit up right in front of me and I recognized the number. Kevin. I didn't want to snoop, I really didn't, but something in me broke open like a dam giving way. I tapped the screen, and there he was. His face, his body, photos I can't unsee, photos my wife replied to, with her own. Nude photos, recent ones, messages full of things I didn't even know she wanted. My hands were shaking, my whole body went numb. I took a long screenshot, pages and pages of messages, and emailed it to myself. Then I put her phone exactly where it had been. She walked out of the shower, smiling. I wish I'd never looked. I wish I'd remained the naive, loyal idiot who believed he had a perfect marriage. There were months of texts, months of emojis, months of her telling him things she never said to me. I couldn't read it all. I still can't. The next morning, I called in sick and flew to the Midwest to see an old friend, someone I hadn't talked to in years. He offered me a month-to-month studio apartment, no questions asked. I told my wife it was a work trip. She hugged me and told me she'd miss me. She had no idea the man she was hugging already knew everything. Our anniversary is the day before Christmas Eve. She's talking about baby names. prenatal vitamins, plans for the holidays. And I'm counting down to January when our lease ends and I'll be gone. I haven't told my mother. I haven't confronted my wife. I don't even know what I'd say. I feel broken, hollow, like the last 4 years of my life were just some cruel joke played on me. We've been trying to get pregnant this whole time. God, what if she already is? What if the child isn't mine? I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to tell my mother. I don't know how to walk away from the woman I gave everything to. I only know one thing. The person I trusted most was sleeping with the man I trusted least, and I don't think I'll ever be the same again. Story 1. My wife cheated on me with my stepfather, and she has no idea. I know. I used to think my marriage was solid. Not perfect, but strong enough to last. I loved my wife more than anything, and I worked like hell to give her a good lifelong hours overtime covering every bill so she could finish her degree. I was proud to do it. I thought that's what love looked like. I guess love can make you blind too. My relationship with my mother has always been messy. She wasn't a good parent, not warm, not supportive, not kind. But over the last year, I made an effort to reconnect. She remarried a man named Kevin, a guy I never really clicked with. Something about him felt off, but I tried to brush it aside. Last year, Kevin asked if I could help remodel their house. My wife suggested we stay for the whole week so we could bond as a family. I agreed because I wanted things to get better with my mom. But that trip did something completely different. From day one, my wife and Kevin connected in a way I didn't expect. They worked together on every project, laughing, talking, joking, moving around each other like a team that had been doing this forever. I'm terrible at renovation, so I spent most of the time with my mother awkwardly trying to build something resembling a relationship. Every time I came back to the house, they were there sharing inside jokes, whispering over measurements, brushing shoulders, acting weirdly close. I noticed it. I did. But I told myself not to be paranoid. I thought she was just being friendly to my new stepdad. I trusted her. After that week, she kept going back to my mom's place to help finish the renovations. Hours away. Sometimes twice a week. Sometimes she came home late and said she'd been studying at the library. She'd kiss me crawl into bed act like everything was normal. We were trying for a baby at the time. The idea of a family together made me happy. It never crossed my mind that she was building something very different behind my back. A few weeks ago, she came home around midnight. She was tired or pretending to be and went straight into the shower. Her phone buzzed on the counter 5 times fast. She always keeps it locked, always near her, but this time, it lit up right in front of me. The name on the screen stopped my breathing. Kevin. I shouldn't have looked. I know that, but I did. One tap and everything I thought I knew about my life shattered. His face, his body, photos I can't erase even if I wanted to. And her replies, her pictures, her words. Words she never said to me. Months. There were months of this. Months of my wife and my stepfather sending each other things I never imagined, making plans, laughing about how he doesn't get it, how he never notices how it feels good to finally have something real. I felt sick. I couldn't breathe. I took screenshots and emailed them to myself because I knew if I didn't, I'd convince myself it wasn't real. She walked out of the shower like nothing was wrong. She kissed me goodnight. The next morning, I took days off work and flew out to see a friend in the Midwest. Someone I hadn't talked to in years. He didn't ask questions. He offered me a small studio apartment month to month. I told my wife I was on a work trip. She hugged me, told me to have fun, said she'd miss me. She had no idea I was already halfway out the door. Our anniversary is coming up. We were supposed to go to the doctor for a fertility check after the holidays. She still talks about baby names. She still smiles at me like nothing has happened. And I still haven't confronted her, or Kevin, or my mother. I don't know how to start that conversation. I don't know how to look her in the eyes knowing she was with him, knowing she might be pregnant, and knowing I can't even be sure the child would be mine. All I know is this. I loved a woman who was sleeping with the man married to my mother. And the moment I saw those messages, something inside me broke in a way I don't think will ever fully heal. January is when our lease ends. January is when I disappear. And she won't even see it coming. Story 2. My wife says she's a gay witch with psychic powers. I think something is really wrong. I don't really know who my wife is anymore. Not the woman I married, not the person I built a life with. Someone else entirely. And the scariest part is, I'm not even sure when she disappeared. We've been married almost 15 years. We met young, both trying to escape the religious trauma we grew up with. When we got together, it felt like we were saving each other. We made this promise to always grow, always evolve, always support one another as individuals. And for a long time we did. Then we had kids. After our second child was born, something inside her broke. She fell into a deep depression. Not the kind where someone cries a lot. The kind where she stayed in bed for days, unable to move, unable to function, unable to be a parent. I took over everything: diapers, meals, school, drop-offs, bills, cooking, cleaning, everything. I didn't resent her for it, I just wanted her back. Slowly over years, she improved. She became more present with the kids, more like the woman I remembered. I was hopeful. But then things started changing in ways I couldn't explain. One night, she told me she was gay, or maybe bisexual. She wasn't sure, but she said she still wanted to be intimate with me. I didn't know what to do with that information, but I said we'd figure it out. A few months later, she told me she was also a witch. Not metaphorically, like genuinely believed she had psychic abilities and spiritual powers. She started following groups online, buying crystals the size of bowling balls, burning herbs that made the entire house smell like a forest fire. She talked to the moon. She said the moon talked back. It was a lot. But I tried to be supportive. Then things got worse. She had a work conference coming up in another state. She packed for it like she always does: laptop, notepads, business casual clothes. But right before she left, she suffered a minor stroke. Just collapsed in the hallway. I thought I was watching the mother of my children die in front of me. Thankfully, she survived. She recovered. The doctors were optimistic. But during the hospital stay, a neurologist asked her about the antidepressants she was prescribed. And she froze. She looked at me the way a kid looks at a parent when they know they're caught. She admitted she stopped taking them months ago. Why? Because she wasn't actually going to a conference. She was going to a guided LSD retreat, some spiritual healing ritual run by self-proclaimed clairvoyants. She planned to take psychedelics with strangers in the woods. She admitted she didn't tell me because she knew I'd try to stop her. That's when something in me cracked. I've supported her through everything: depression, identity journeys, spiritual experiments, emotional chaos. But this wasn't growth anymore. This was a free fall. And I'm the one trying to catch her while she cuts my hands with every new revelation. She's different now. Not just spiritually or sexually or emotionally. Different in a fundamental way. The woman who once sat next to me on the couch talking about our future now tells me about visions, supernatural messages, and energies trying to tear us apart. She says I'm restricting her, that I'm anchoring her to the physical world and blocking her spiritual progress. I love her. God, I really do. But I don't know who I'm in love with anymore. I keep wondering if this is trauma, or mania, or neurological, or something wrong in her brain that nobody has caught yet. A personality shift this extreme. It doesn't feel random. But how do you tell the person you've loved for 15 years that you're scared of what she's becoming? She depends on me now physically, financially, emotionally. Leaving feels cruel. Staying feels impossible. I'm caught between protecting her and protecting myself from the fallout of her transformation. She thinks she's a gay witch with psychic powers. And maybe the saddest, strangest part is that I almost wish that were true. Because at least then, there would be an explanation. What I really fear is that she's sick in a way none of us understand. Story 3. My husband won't stop farting in bed and says I'm abusive for complaining. I didn't expect this to be the thing that pushed me to Reddit, but here we are. I'm a married woman, 10 months in, and I think my husband is slowly trying to gas me to death. Literally. With his farts. We don't fight much. Our relationship is pretty good overall. But lately he's developed this hobby, or talent, or demon possession. I'm not sure. All I know is that he farts constantly. In the car, in the kitchen, walking up the stairs, opening the fridge, he's like a one-man brass band. But the real problem is the bedroom. Every night I get into bed trying to relax after a long day, and the moment the blankets settle, I smell it. This thick, toxic, eye-watering cloud that hits me like a truck. And every time I tell him stop, seriously, knock it off. And every time he blames the dog. Our dog who is innocent. Our dog who sleeps at my feet. Our dog who literally gets up and leaves the room half the time, which should tell you everything about the situation. Even the dog refuses to take credit for this crime. Last night was the breaking point. I got into bed, and before I even touched the pillow there, it was another one. I said, please, just stop. He looks at me dead serious and says, that wasn't me. It was the dog. The dog was downstairs. Then, like some kind of biological prankster, he lets out another one. Worse this time. A smell that makes me genuinely question my marriage vows. And he laughs. Not loudly, just that smug little snicker men do when they know they've unleashed evil. On the third one, I snapped. I yelled at him. I'm not proud of it, but anyone with a functioning nose would have done the same. And that's when he turns around and calls me abusive. Abusive. For reacting to his chemical warfare. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or file for divorce on the grounds of biological terrorism. I grabbed a pillow and went downstairs to sleep on the couch. And as I'm walking out, I hear him say, why are you overreacting? It's natural. Yeah. So is a forest fire. Doesn't mean I want one in my bedroom. So now I'm sitting here alone on the couch wondering what my next move is. Do I go back upstairs? Do I stay down here? Do I draft a fart-free marital contract? I love my husband. I really do. But I cannot spend the rest of my life trapped in a bed-sized gas chamber because he thinks it's funny. I need him to understand how much this bothers me without him turning it into some ridiculous joke. I didn't think marriage counseling would ever involve discussing bodily functions, but honestly, here we are. Maybe the therapist can start with, sir, why do you feel the need to weaponize your digestive system? Because I'd love to know the answer. I didn't expect this to be the thing that pushed me to Reddit, but here we are. I'm a married woman 10 months in, and I think my husband is slowly trying to gas me to death. Literally. With his farts. We don't fight much. Our relationship is generally good, but lately he's developed this hobby, or superpower, or curse from an ancient deity. I'm not sure. All I know is that he farts constantly. In the car in the kitchen when he's reaching for cereal, it's like he's auditioning for an orchestra and playing every instrument with his butt. But the real battlefield is the bedroom. Every night I get into bed trying to relax after a long day, and the moment the blankets settle, I smell it. This thick, toxic, eye-watering cloud that rolls over me like I've angered the gods. And every time I tell him, stop, I'm serious. Knock it off. And every time he blames the dog. Our sweet, innocent dog who sleeps at my feet. Our dog who literally gets up and leaves the room half the time, which honestly should count as eyewitness testimony. If the dog is fleeing the scene, you know it wasn't the dog. Last night was the breaking point. I got into bed, and before I even tucked my legs under the blanket there, it was another one. I told him to stop, begged him to stop, and he just shrugged. Then he lets out another one worse than the first. A smell that makes me rethink every life choice that led me to this moment. And he laughs. That quiet, evil little laugh like he's proud of himself. The third one, I snapped. I lost it. I yelled at him. I'm not proud, but I think anyone with a functioning sense of smell would. And that's when he turned to me and called me abusive. Abusive. Because I reacted to his biological warfare. I stared at him in disbelief, grabbed a pillow, and went downstairs to sleep on the couch. As I walk away, he calls out, "Why are you being dramatic?" It's natural. Yeah. So is a volcano eruption. Doesn't mean I want one in my bedroom. So now I'm on the couch wondering what the next move is. Do I go back upstairs? Do I stay down here? Do we need a fart treaty? A ceasefire agreement? Marriage counseling? I love my husband, truly. But I can't spend the rest of my life being crop-dusted in my own bed while he thinks it's hilarious. Maybe a therapist can look him in the eye and ask, "Sir, why do you feel compelled to weaponize your digestive system?" Because I would really love to hear the answer,